Hello, my little Liebfrau Milches, and welcome to the Monday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. A good start to the week because we've got Tony the cow as he's maturing, and Jim Hammer Time in and around Columbus, Ohio. What city are you in now, Tony?
I am in a small town called Hibbing, Minnesota.
Oh, good. That's the home of Bobby Dylan. Yeah, I did. Oh, complete unknown.
Uh-huh.
Yep, that's good.
Uh-huh.
So you're in Hibbing. Wow.
Uh-huh. We're back to where I was actually born in Hibbing, Minnesota. So we're
and look at this, Rick Bay. Yeah, and I know that album cover all too well. That was a friend of my cousin Morty's. This is just can't continue year after year after year, can it?
it can.
Yesterday was my birthday, my 68th birthday, and it was a really good birthday. Rocks made it a really good birthday, and no, don't go there with it. But no,
she was gonna celebrate your 69th, but she passed out at 68.
No, she wouldn't put up with 67 more of them. No, but it was a wonderful day, and you know what? Part of the nicest part of the day was of all places, Facebook, all the people wishing me a happy birthday, and you know it made me feel good because there are people from almost every part of my life, from kids that I grew up with in our neighborhood in Canton, to my college years, to my early professional years, to my Illinois radio stations, my Michigan stations, my New York radio stations, and it's just like a wonderful thing. And no, David, she did not sing Titanium. That was one thing that did not happen, but I'm having her save it just for you. And R. Jones, be more than a pleasure. Can you shout out to my mom, Kathy from Red Lobster? Hey, Kathy from Red Lobster. It's where America goes for seafood. And if you really want to get the best thing at Red Lobster, Kathy is the best thing at Red Lobster. And which Red Lobster is she at, R. Jones? I could just direct people to go. I mean, you got to get like the hush puppies. You got
there's a fish joke in here.
Isaiah Thomas, take her someplace nice like Red Lobster.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Hey, I like me some Red Lobster every now and then. I think we were one of the last people who had the all-you-can-eat shrimp, and then they looked at me and went, "Nah," and they changed their mind.
You can go now. We won't tell
you go now, fat boy. You go now.
You've been here 4 hours. Yeah. If you walk out now, we won't say anything. Just walk out quietly.
R. Jones says in the Midway Mall in Elyria. There you go.
It's still open?
Yeah. I mean, there's Red Lobsters up in
just Midway
Red
Mall.
Lobster up in Fairlawn.
I didn't know Midway Mall was still open. There's still malls in America.
Well, they're dying. I mean,
the one next to me is on its last legs, man. They went in and put what they call it's a business called Scene 75 Entertainment, and it has like indoor go-karts and all kind of laser tag and jumping off of trampolines, and it's like, but basically they went over and took over it wasn't the Macy's, but they took over like one of the stores, Kaufman's or something, and built multiple stores. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
David is asking, isn't Red Lobster bankrupt? No, but the people who are happy about Joe Biden today, they're morally bankrupt. So I just wanted to point that out. I mean, you know, you don't have to agree with somebody. You don't have to like somebody as a political figure, but you do not wish death or cheer death along for somebody. You just don't do it. So, oh my gosh, look at this. Midway Mall is still there, but with only one store remaining. What's the one store remaining,
Wow.
R. Jones? God, that would be a great
Yeah.
trivia question. Who has
That's
hung
like-
it out that long, held out hope that somehow the mall's coming back? So you're no longer going to the mall. You're going to a store, which was a mall. That's weird. The Finish Line. It sure is, because they finished. Oh, man, that's amazing. Yeah, that's right. And boy, that looks old. Summit Mall, because when I was a kid, that was the only mall you could go to before Millette Mall, which is now was the Canton Mall, which is now poof gone, and then Belden Village became the big thing. Chapel Hill died. Rolling Acres died. I mean, wow. One of those two is now an Amazon center.
Wow.
Well, yeah, warehouse. It's amazing. And there's also the ubiquitous chicken teriyaki spot.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey, let's go to the mall and get some chicken teriyaki.
We could do a whole episode on abandoned dead malls, right? Jeez.
Yeah, you know what the funny part of it is? I think of like 10 bad punchlines in my head, and I'm just thinking to myself that for people who live a life of crime, it's the worst time possible because you can't shoplift from a chicken teriyaki place. You know, where's the thrill? You know, hey, look, I got a JoJo potato. Hey, check this. You know,
The mall near me has two stores left. Well, one's a VA clinic, and the other's a Joanne Fabrics.
Well, VA clinic, that's a good, it's a good use of a mall. Maybe they could throw some other healthcare things in there,
Well, and David's saying Rolling Acres is Amazon now. That's correct. And I bought my ColecoVision system in 1983, 84, around there. 83 sounds maybe right. Maybe even 82 at Rolling Acres Mall. So, yeah. And that was a nice mall. You know, these were nice big malls. It's unbelievable. They're all gone. I remember
Chapel Hill, there was they used to do a card show and like autograph signings during Hall of Fame week every year. And they would have like I'm pretty sure that's where we were at, either Chapel Hill or the Summit. And so I got to meet like a bunch, like Luke Groza and Dante Lavelli and, all these, former Browns. And it was always kind of cool.
Yeah. Now, to start out the sports portion of our program, 10 minutes into the show, you get me sidetracked, but I love Ohio. I grew up here. So, I mean, and it never ceases to amaze me when I drive around all the things that I run into. And it's like, oh, I remember this. One of them was, do you remember Nelson Ledges? Does anybody?
I grew up right down the road.
Oh, my God.
I honestly grew up in Nelson Township for a while. Yeah.
It's a death trap, man. And people plunging their death, man. It's like.
We used to hike the ledges and stuff, and I went rappelling off the ledges. There was a section that's like,
yeah, and people would get drunk at Nelson Ledges. It's like,
plus you had the quarry too. People would do that, but yeah, they would seem to have somebody die once every couple of years because they go out there and get hammered and then go walking around the ledges. And
is it still open? Are you still allowed to walk there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's real nice. They used to have a race course up there, the Nelson Ledges racetrack. I think it's still up there. And Paul Newman owned part of it at one point in time. So
wow.
Yeah, I grew up in Garrettsville, and they had concerts and stuff. ELO played a big concert at Nelson Ledges.
It's a dying thing. Da 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 da. What a terrible.
And now I think the biggest thing they have a bunch of ICP and Zane Clown Posse does their gathering of the Juggalos there frequently. Yep, there you go. Jay Giles, Eddie Money. There was a lot of good people there.
Yeah. The late Eddie Money. Yeah. All right. So the Cleveland Browns did something, and it's really weird what the Browns do when you look back at it, looking back at the draft. It's like, who would take two rookie quarterbacks in one NFL draft when they had so many other needs. And also to have brought Kenny Pickett over, and also to be bringing Joe Flacco back. What is the story here? Are they just trying to convince somebody that we're going to do everything we can to be competitive, and everyone's laughing at them?
And they gave Shadur a 4-year deal, I saw today.
No.
Yeah.
Nice try. You're not going to fish hook me.
What did I could have sworn I saw 4 years ago.
Yeah, Tony. Yeah.
Hold on.
Wait, I got an itch on my nose.
I know you're fucking with me here.
Hey, thank you, Christopher. Wonderful birthday.
4-year, $4.6 million contract. Adam Schefter. I ain't kidding you.
Well, what about
Brock Purdy just signed?
What about
for
Dylan? $256 million for Brock Purdy, a stick man with a weak arm. I mean,
and you know what his salary was before? It was 2.6 annually. So he
Gabriel
basically does. I'm sure his wife's going to go open the first paycheck up. What have you been holding out on me?
That's just his rookie contract. I mean, it's like they can cut him at any time, So you got competition amongst 4 men. Now you can't have, when you're going back to the Kevin Stefanski tight end Paleozoic era football, one thing, it will be simplistic, but Shedeur has a big problem because at rookie camp, they said the biggest thing that he was working on was taking snaps from under center. I'm like, oh God.
Nobody does that anymore. So, So they gotta run play action passes, and that's that's how it works. So
are they gonna cut Pickett and admit that they fucked up trading
they're probably gonna trade him to somebody like they did with what's his name that they signed from the Ravens.
Well, New Orleans automatically needs a quarterback after Carr went bye-bye.
But somebody will get hurt.
Yeah. I mean, that's always the case, and that's probably part of what they're thinking, but they don't know who's who. And, people say, well, what do you think, Mr. Moohead? And it's like, well, Flacco has the inside track of starting because he's actually started football games before.
And won.
And Pickett has 2, and that's the reason why he's probably in the worst position, because people have already seen him try and fail multiple times. Then you've got the true rookies who are really competing with each other to make a roster. But I can't imagine having a 40-year-old quarterback who would be injury prone, and just age alone and the toll on his body, and to have 2 young guys with no experience. I mean, they're hoping, and this is what I call the Jimmy Haslam hope against all common sense concept, which it'll work itself out, and, we're going to catch that break, and one of these 2 rookies is really going to turn out to be an outstanding quarterback, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, probably for another team.
Yeah, but in the meantime, how do you give each of the rookie quarterbacks sufficient snaps to make that determination? There's no way that 4 men can get enough snaps, and you have to take a look at the 2 guys you drafted. You got a 3rd rounder and a 5th rounder. You have to give them full opportunity. You have to believe that Pickett's just along for the ride, and I don't know. The whole thing is very strange to me. But the only thing I can think of as far as how you give these people any kind of opportunity is if you already have established in your mind which one fits what you're doing. And as much as people want to talk about the Deion Sanders effect for, Shedeur, you have to think that the Browns really felt they had to get themselves some Gabriel, They had to. because he was still there in the third round. They didn't feel that way about Shedeur. They felt that way about Dylan Gabriel. So, and I think because he's got a lot of experience at larger colleges, and he's more of a possession quarterback, not a big play guy, somebody who might be perceived as maybe a little less heady, as far as Shedeur Sanders would be concerned, versus a guy like Gabriel, who might be a little bit more analytical. Sanders might be a bigger play guy, but you need to have time to make the bigger plays, and they're going to be looking for somebody who can get rid of the ball quickly. One thing I can say about Flacco, he's really very good, even at his advanced age, doing play action passes. And he can find men quickly, and he still has the arm to get the ball from point A to point B. His greatest asset is when the running game has a reason for being, and that can stall pass rush. The problem with the Browns offensive line is they'll all be dead. I mean, literally of old age, within the first 4 weeks of the season. But nonetheless, Flacco will get the start. Or the other two guys, you have to get a ton of reps for. And I mean, every preseason game, Sanders and Gabriel should be alternating quarters. We shouldn't even have to see Flacco until maybe the very last game for a quarter. Seriously. And I think Pickett will be gone by the time that comes around anyway. So it's the only sense I can make of it. And the Browns running game, it's really interesting. They've got two rookie running backs, and I think people in Ohio are more familiar with one, right?
I'm going to say both of them have some serious pedigree. I mean,
but
they both have led the SEC in rushing at one point in time.
Yes.
So when Judkins was with Mississippi State, he was the leader there, and same thing with the Tennessee. I mean, it's just
you don't remember his name, do you? You know,
no,
Judkins.
I can't. It's I can't remember anybody's name. I aged like 3 years for your birthday, by the way, I think.
Oh,
but no, I was just thinking about that over the weekend. But we watched him when he was here in Columbus when they played against Ohio State, and he got hurt, but he was something else before he got hurt. So
well, I think Judkins he's going to be more of the guy who is your bang bang more downs played running back. All right, the other guy they're talking about he only caught like I want to say 20 passes.
20.
Out of the
That's
backfield.
Correct. 20 passes. Yeah.
But they're talking about throwing more to him out of the backfield. But the only thing I can tell you, Browns fans, is this. I can't say what kind of a running game we're going to have because I don't know what kind of offensive line we're going to have at this point. But I'm trying to find a silver lining to this cloud. How would I put it? That they're going to run as hard as they can, and if they have to run through people, they'll run through people. And the sad part of it all is that Nick Chubb sits there, and there is no interest in him.
You know who else is available out there?
Who?
Jed Wills. Jed Wills is out there. He's available. No one's signing.
So is Jed Clampett.
Right now, the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation, and people like to call them the clowns and stuff. They basically have a clown car full of quarterbacks. It really is legitly a clown car full of quarterbacks. We don't know if any of them can. Who knows? It's just, yeah. But hey, they got a whole bunch to throw out there. So
here's the problem that the Browns face. The schedule never favors the Cleveland Browns. Ever. You would think that the more bad years they'd have, that somebody would give them a break, but no. So it's at home against the Bengals, then on the road against the Ravens. Then it's home against the Packers, and then all hell breaks loose. It's like the Browns are at the Lions. Oh, my God. Don't make that happen. The Vikings are at the Browns. Tony, you'll have a field day.
Yeah, we're overseas back-to-back weeks. We play the Steelers in Dublin.
That's the Vikings at the Browns in Britain.
Yeah,
Browns at the Steelers, and the Dolphins at the Browns, and the Browns at the Patriots, and the Browns at the Jets, the Ineptitude Bowl on November 9th. But I mean, there are stretches in this schedule that are just brutal. Absolutely brutal. And to tell you the truth, I don't see this team winning more than 2-3 games. I don't see that. I mean, right now, you're just going to try to give people an opportunity to prove that they can play. David Telesky says, DeJuan Jones has slimmed down. Now, that's a relative expression, Dave. I mean, David, how many pounds are we talking about? I slimmed down, but what you're looking at is still moo. And of course, no primetime games, Rick. Why would you want to put that in primetime?
Yeah, currently the line for total wins is 4.5. I think that's being optimistic.
Generous. So I don't know. And it just goes on and on. You know, we got the 49ers and the Titans and the Bears and the Bills. The Bills. It's like, why is this happening to us?
But you know what? They're going to beat one of those teams that no one expects them to beat. You know, just like how we always say, oh, they always play the Bengals really well. Well, I think the Bengals are going to beat them by 40. But that's just, you know.
But they always win a division game every year that you didn't.
Yeah, they seem to, Tony. It's just.
It's like, was it last year they beat the Ravens for no fucking reason?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, theoretically, if Flacco was still standing, he could have a 300-plus yard game. He proved he could do it. But these other quarterbacks, no. Kenny Pickett cannot, and the other two guys
he's ever had one.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think Kenny Pickett has ever had a 300-yard game.
And you know, when you look at the draft, and it's like, well, we didn't get Travis Hunter, and we got Carson Schwarzenegger, and I get what the vibe is. The national vibe is him vomiting, okay? Because he's a Cleveland Brown, and look at the number 5 pick. He's vomiting, you know. But he only started 1 year in college. He is got to be the linebacker that this team needs that it hasn't had in decades. I mean, we still look back with wonder at Clay Matthews, whose son already had a career, for Christ's sake. Carson Schwarzenegger. Well, he takes good routes to the ball. He can really get through narrow spaces in college. We'll see when he goes up against much bigger bodies in the pros what the story will be. But if you took the number 5 pick and wasted it on another bum linebacker, oh my God, then if you're a Browns fan, don't listen to this show, because I'm going to be trying to find people to hang out on the roof at the stadium with little when Jimmy Haslam walks in. I mean, the way the team goes about things is so weird.
Pickett has his highest total completed passing yards is 193.
Yeah, and that was a big game for him.
Yeah. He's had 2 games in the 190s, and the rest are below 160.
And those were in high school. Oh Lord. I am I looking forward to the season? Well, kind of it'll be a lot of fun halftime and post game shows. That's for damn sure, because nobody can be sarcastic more than me. If you think the Cleveland Cavaliers have something to prove, then what about the Browns? The thing I don't understand is fans of the NBA who claim to be Cavalier fans. It's like, they're never going to get it done. They're never going to get it done. And then it comes Browns season, and it's like, oh, wow, it's Brown season. Like,
do you think we're barreling a Hugh Jackson Owens 17 season possibly here?
That becomes a psychological thing. And
what a way for Stefanski to go out with that.
Two Coach of the Year awards and a Wade Jackson award.
The people who were drafted couldn't have been his choices, and the bottom line is he's going to run his goddamn offense. He's going to call the fucking plays, and he's going to go down with the ship. That's the way it's going to be. So anything that he squeaks out of this team will be of his doing, and if they end up sucking, it's all going to be thrown at him. That's the way it is when you're a head coach. You'll get blamed for everything, even if you don't have any personnel whatsoever.
Well, look at Bud Black getting fired from Colorado. You think that's his fault? Not hardly.
No. I mean, sometimes, the idea that a team, let's take J.B. Bickerstaff and Kenny Atkinson. Sometimes the feeling that a team just needs to hear a new voice, there's validity to that. I mean, it can get that way. And players who have to hear JB screaming for 3-4 years, it can, you tune them out. Everything that happened to Kenny Atkinson, good, and at the end, the bad, he did a hell of a coaching job. I want to point out to people, and while I'm comparing Cavs fans and Browns fans, honestly, Atkinson gets no blame from me, and the players themselves fell prey to the same exact fucking thing that the Celtics fell prey to, the same fucking thing that every team that lost that was supposed to win, they got mangled, hurt, and nobody off the bench picked up the pace. I mean, for the Nuggets, it was like, well, Jokic has to have a 50-point game. No! That didn't, it's like, you don't understand Aaron Gordon. We need Aaron Gordon. If you need Aaron Gordon, then you're fucked to begin with. You don't have enough personnel. And if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, you're saying, well, this might be the night that that Wade has a big game. Or this could be Max Strus's 1 out of 4 nights where he shoots well. You never know.
It was like Boston fucking, what was that, game 5 that they came back in the Garden where you thought like, shit, they kind of manhandled the Knicks here.
Yeah.
Then no.
But look what happened. Now, how come nobody is talking about the Celtics failure? Is it because you have to rip out an Achilles tendon to get that kind of, or is it just that they're the favored little pampered Celtics? Dun, 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 that horse shit. They're still talking about dead red Arbach, and it's old, and you can't win with people who never stay healthy. And again, I'm going to bring up Kristaps Porzingis because I've talked about him on many occasions. When they got him, this guy has been a walking lower body injury. Now it's a mystery virus, and tomorrow he'll be abducted by Martians. It's always something.
It's fucking long COVID, and they won't admit it.
Yeah, whatever it is. I mean, he couldn't breathe. But again, it piles up. Now, you say, well, Darius Garland didn't ask for getting his jaw broken last year. It's like, no. And he didn't ask to get his toe hurt. No. But he didn't do anything to make his body stronger. So I don't feel sorry for Darius Garland. He makes a lot of fucking money, and he's not motivated enough. And if he doesn't get motivated, then you're going to be stuck with Kyrie Irving all over again, a guy who, is going to moan and whine and with a little, he's got that thing going on, that little smile, but there's mischief in that smile. But it's not just Porzingis. I mean, so wasn't Jaylen Brown supposed to be? Well, of course, they came out with, he has a partial tear of the meniscus. I beat players in singles and on a tennis court with a partially torn meniscus. Don't fuck with me. It's like they needed something big. And where was White? Nowhere to be found. Where were the Celtics? Every guy who was supposed to make a difference, whether it was Pritchard or, Hauser or where the fuck were they? Nobody writes about that. But everything is skin deep because you got to have a lot of quality players. You got to have a good coach, and you've got to have guys who are willing to play together.
You got to be the Oklahoma City Thunder, man. That team is just a fucking machine,
Well, and so we have these, finals, in each conference now.
Yeah.
And by far the most entertaining to watch is going to be Oklahoma City and Minnesota, just for the sheer pace going up and down the floor. If you shoot them, put up the points kind of basketball, and teams that will charge up and down the floor, that's awesome. The other one is kind of the thinking man's chess game. Who's going to win this? The battle of strategy? Will it be the Pacers trying to do what they did against the Cavaliers by pressuring and trying to speed up the crippled Tom Thibodeau team with fat Karl Anthony Towns, who's not in shape? What will be the story of who conquers who from a mental perspective? And that's why the Cavalier situation is, and somebody asked about 0-17 for the Browns. That's a mental condition. To lose 17 games in a season, there's something wrong with the leadership. There's something wrong with the lack of effort that's being put out. But I just want to point out that every team, Denver, knocked out because guy gets hurt. The Cavaliers got hurt. You look at every one of these, the Lakers, they got hurt. Every single team suffered the same fate. You only hear about it by Cleveland pussy fans that, we have to do this and we have to do that. You can't. If somebody told me the Cavaliers were playing as well as they did during the year and they were getting through the Pacers, you're not going to believe this, boohead, but Tatum just ripped his Achilles. I'm like, huzzah! Huzzah! I mean, that's the only way we could have beaten the Celtics. Yes! Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
Yes, I do.
Yeah, but the Pacers have to feel that way. When you go in against New York, you got to feel like old man Brunson pounding the ball and taking a beating. It's only a matter of time until he goes down and doesn't get up. And I guarantee you that the New York Knicks will get injured in this final series, and it will be the Pacers that move on. Unless something crazy happens and the Pacers turn into pumpkins at midnight and they can't hit open shots, which you never know. But the Knicks don't impress me. They just don't impress me. And I don't know where. I guess somebody rang the dinner bell up there in Columbus. Yeah. So, oh yeah, Raul, that's funny. Yeah.
I think the Thunder should easily handle the Timberwolves. I'm not too excited about
Oklahoma
the
City
Wolves
is a better team, and I'm not saying that just to get you
No,
fired up.
they're vastly better. I mean
Yeah,
that
uh,
watching them yesterday go down by 12 and or 14 or whatever it was, and just all of a sudden be up by 40 was just a thing of
yeah, they
amazingness.
can get you to turn the ball over, and that's what the Pacers did to the Cavaliers too.
And
And
I mean, they're deep. They got Caruso and Hartenstein and Wiggins and fucking,
yeah,
yeah, just anybody, Case and Wallace, just,
they just keep coming at you.
uh
And they play well together.
yeah,
And so did we for a period of time. And the lack of sharing
yeah,
the ball is the problem with Donovan Mitchell. Is that every team in the NBA has a Donovan Mitchell? Now, he may not be as good as Donovan Mitchell, but every team has a guy who needs to take the shot for his team. And of course, you have it in Edwards in Minnesota, right?
yeah,
And he's not a great percentage shooter, all right?
no, he's a volume guy.
But it's exactly what he is. And there's one for every team in the league. And ball distribution and roster extension as far as playable bodies becomes more important than having that one or two guys, because the one or two guys get hurt, you're fucked.
Yeah,
And the other guys sit around picking their butts. They don't know what to do. They have, and for all the talk looking back at the Pacers series, I mean, stop and think about it. Max Strus is a hard worker, but he's not fast. You can't teach speed. Dean Wade tries, but he's not fast or strong. You start looking at, Ty Jerome. He's not fast. There's a lot of guys on the Cavaliers. They move the ball quickly, and they use some defense to get transition points, but they're not a fast team. And that's what's going to make the Oklahoma City series with Minnesota fun to watch, because it's going to be up and down, up and down, up and down. That what we know, though, is that Oklahoma City's defense is for real, and Minnesota's is a shell defense that it's mainly all about their offense, isn't it?
correct.
So, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. And then talking about the team that I understand the least, the Cleveland Guardians. Maybe I understand them, but I just, you can't get excited in something. At least for the Cavaliers, you got excited because, man, the way they whipped the ball around and they would have avalanches and shit like that, it was like great. But how does it come to pass that the Guardians, year after year after year, are developing young players that get hurt, that never make it to the big leagues, or they keep bringing the same dead bodies back to a team that didn't need them? Nolan Jones should never be back in a Cleveland uniform. Neither should Carlos Santana. These people should not be on a major league squad, and definitely not in a place where they've already failed in the past. In the case of Santana, I mean, the fucker's 40 years old, man. I mean, come on. There had to be a better option than that. But it's worse now because we keep going back and forth. It was like the amazing Miles Straw game, right? Where, they got so sick of him. He was so bad that they left him down. And I said, wow, that's the first time I've ever seen the Guardians actually demote somebody permanently. So now we have this. Is Gabriel Arias hot enough to stay at the big league level? Well, Rocchio played his way off the team, but he's working on his game at AAA. But you know that Rocchio will never be shit because he's a pop bottle. I mean, he's got the mental fortitude of a midget who's not intelligent. How about a retarded midget? The guy's never going to make it in the big leagues. I'm sorry. Gabriel Arias is only an interest to the Guardians because he can technically hit the ball with power when he hits the ball. but he's not a good fielder. And at shortstop, you need to have your best defensive guy. They have to be consistent. The thing that made Omar Vizquel a great shortstop, the flashy plays people remember and all the fancy double plays with Roberto Alomar, you remember that stuff. But every ball that came at him, man, he fielded. If it was a bullet at him, he had fast hands. He could barehand the ball. He could backhand the ball. I mean, he could dive and jump to his feet and throw the guy out. I mean, he did everything. And we're fighting over Gabriel Arias or Brian Rocchio. Are you kidding me? And it's like this at every position. How many times could you, I mean, are you going to keep bringing Big Christmas up and down and up and down and up and down? You're going to, you know, I was looking at their roster. It's like, I mean, Walters, who was in AAA, who didn't make the team, who pitched so well last year for the Guardians in the playoffs and to get us into the playoffs, he's down in Columbus, right? He's in nowhere. And he just came back from a 7-day time on the injured reserve. He had some kind of a thing going on with his arm. But he's got to be better than Joey Cantillo. Are you fucking kidding me? You can't be serious putting these people on the mound. And if you see the pitching is failing, maybe it's because Carl Willis is too old. Maybe they need to infuse something here, because all these years of great pitching that we've gotten is now going to hell in a handbasket. I mean, let's see if I can pull up this goddamn roster. I mean, unbelievable to me. Let's see here. I have it somewhere.
I was watching the game the other day. I didn't know Carl Willis is still the pitching coach.
Yeah.
Feels like Sasquatch has been there since the fucking George W. Bush administration.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's been Sasquatch since Sasquatch was Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Colby Allard. Logan Allen. Logan Allen can't get out of the fifth inning. Hasn't anyone noticed that he gets through the fourth and he's given up only 0 or 1 run? And then he gets into the fifth and it bombs away. The guy has a mental block. He's never going to go anywhere. Joey Cantillo. You've got to be kidding me. A guy who's 6'4" and 225 pounds. He throws like a girl. You can't make this shit up. Well, I can throw an off-speed pitch and a slower one. I can throw a little slower than that. Slade Ciccone, who just got called up, and it's like, he pitched all right in his first game, so I'm not going to blast him. What in the fuck is a Matt Festa? I mean, Jacob Junis, who's been with 14 teams.
Mac Festa sounds like a European car.
Yeah, I know.
I want to drive down the Andes in my Mac Festa.
But you're not going to win with these people. You look at the positional players, and it's like, where are the runs going to come from? And why are we going through this every single season? And then our answer will be to bring somebody back from the past. And why is it that we end up playing the Cincinnati Reds and Benson hits a bunch of home runs against us and we got rid of him for a chocolate bar? I don't, what is the difference, honestly? Whether Benson, who could hit 20 home runs in a season, if he hit 187 last year with the Reds, all right? He sees Cleveland and motherfuckers got rid of me. Bang, he hits 3 home runs against them, right? But what do we get that sticks? You know, we end up, Nolan Jones, I just want to scream. I want to scream at that guy. And now it's Brennan. It's like Will Brennan, the last game is like, well, we have a man on first base And pinch hitting is Will Brennan. And I'm going, why? Well, it's because they don't want Manzardo to bat. Really? And Brennan hasn't had a hit since they called him up, right? That's right. But he was hitting the hell out of the ball at AAA. It's like, then that's where he belongs. Keep him happy. 3 pitches and he was out. The game was over. Tying run on first base. They take the power hitter out of the equation. They go with the punch and Judy hitter. 3 pitches, strike 3. You're out of there. Fuck you. And we're going to keep bringing him up and sending him down. Bringing him up and sending him. It's like a fucking yo-yo. Not serious. And everyone's complaining about the Cavaliers. I mean, they won 64 fucking games. And they ran off a sweep in their first series. Bottom line is, they couldn't do what the Celtics couldn't do, so shut the fuck up. Now, what do I think personally? I think Jared Allen needs to go bye-bye. I think that we could actually get something for him. Nice guy, but he just doesn't have the fire in the belly. You know? Doesn't have that. Gotta have that if you're expecting to make any kind of deep run. Now, the fact that he's not a big man. I mean, even you take a look at guys who are bigger, you know, a guy like Hartenstein or a guy like, who would be a good example of a guy like Duran or a guy like, who's legitimately, you know, 6'10", 6'11" kind of guys. You know, Jared Allen is like a 6'8.5", 6'9" guy trying to be Ben Wallace, but he ain't Ben Wallace because he has no attitude. He wants to go home and play with his model cars. He's not the guy that you need to rough somebody up.
Yeah, Jared Allen doesn't provide rim protection. He doesn't.
No. I mean, he can when he's revved up, but if you have to keep pumping him up, there's a leak. He can't use it. So that's a huge weak spot of the team. And I think all of this comes from the too big concept. Not that they're too big, but that we have 2 bigs who are playing. And one of them really can only play like a big because he has no shooting range, Jared Allen. And you've got Evan Mobley, who they're trying to expand his repertoire, and he did a nice job this year. And if they're going to tell him, well, you're going to be the 5 now, you know, and they're going to shut down his career and fuck his head up. Yeah, you got to put on about 50 pounds to just become a big block standing there in the paint. I don't know, but I think Jared Allen has to go. And I think they have to really lower the boom on Darius Garland to say, get serious or get out. You know, there are lots of guys who can score 20 a night in the league. And it is a great comparison with Colin Sexton. There are lots of guys who can score 20 points if they get the minutes. Lots of them. But I don't know. That doesn't mean anything. There's so many other, you know, instances of you know, avenues of becoming an important player without scoring 20 points a night. Oh, God. Let's see what else we have here. I don't even know if I have anything else. Oh, this. I want your opinion on this, Tony.
Sure.
What do you think about the tush-push play in the NFL?
If he can't stop it, I mean, that's you problem, not, you know, it's no different than a quarterback fucking sneak, you know, if it's,
yeah, you know,
learn to stop it. Why are they banning it? It's,
you know, I saw many plays this year where guys got the ball and the offensive line kept pushing and the referees didn't blow the whistle because there was still forward motion going on. And it's like, so what's the offensive linemen were pushing the running back forward, not just on a plunge play for short yardage, but I mean, in a regular play that ends up gaining 12 yards because he gets pushed 7 of them or 8 of them down the field.
Yeah.
you're getting run over like that for a reason, and it's not a good reason. But it's funny how people look at teams, and when the vertical passing game was all the rage, and the Chiefs were eating up the league because they were able to they had fast receivers, the Tyreek Hills, so the guys who were going just up and down the field, and they had a quarterback who could throw off his back foot accurately. And people said, well, they're going to be the team to beat forever and ever and ever because this concept is going to be the new concept in the NFL. And all of a sudden, man, the too deep comes in. and not even the Chiefs look like the Chiefs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was taken away. And it's a matter of time till the defensive coordinators figure out a way to attack something like this. But abandoning the entire play and saying it's illegal doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
No, but that would be the NFL taking one step forward and jumping 7 fucking leaps back,
And there is one other thing that I wanted to bring up before I get out of here. I know you'll have opinion on this too, Tony. Many times with Major League Baseball, I've said I'm not the biggest baseball fan in the world because it's a slow, lumbering game. I can't sit there for 2.5 hours and watch that shit. The games were going over 3 and they sped it up, but it's still 2.5 hours. It's like watching a cricket match to me. I just can't, I got better things to do. I'm going to watch The Godfather of Harlem and watch 6 people get blown away. That's more exciting. A baseball game, there might be a play here, a play there, but 162 fucking games, enough is enough. But it's the owners that bother me in Major League Baseball because the history of the league of, becoming through Judge Landis back in the 20s, you're allowed to be a monopoly is what it amounts to. That the rules that exist for other businesses don't exist for Major League Baseball. And the history of Major League Baseball, of how free agency created such a ruckus when Curt Flood first, and this is history back 1970, he was an African-American center fielder, and he was a good ball player for the St. Louis Cardinals, and he gave up his career basically because he believed in free agency and said it was unfair for to be told that he had to play for one team. They ended up trading his ass. I lost Tony now. They ended up trading his ass like to the Washington Senators, which was the place everyone went to die. And how the owners did Jackie Robinson wrong, and how they waited so long to get black players into the major leagues. And they were allowed to do all this stuff because they were exempt from, laws, and they wouldn't pay their players. And when finally, by the time free agency came around, 75, 76, in that period of time, Andy Messersmith and Wayne Garland, if you're an Indians fan, unfortunately, players got the right to negotiate for what they make. And the owners have still been a pain in the ass every which way. We have, owners of a team in Cleveland who won't spend money, and they will collect money any way they can with half-assed television networks that don't work half the time. It's an embarrassment, really. Major league owners it's literally the most racially bigoted group of owners and people who are pigs. And there is not a better illustration of it for me than the whole Pete Rose thing. This is the guy who was the best hitter who ever picked up a bat in the game, right? We're talking, and I'm not saying that I like Pete Rose as a guy. He was a jerk. He really was. But, man, it's like so many other things. It's like Babe Ruth could never have been anything in life but a baseball player. He was dumb. He was overweight for a lot of his career. But, man, he was good. Pete Rose could hit pitchers like nobody's business. More hits than anybody. He should have been a celebrated figure. He gambled on games that were not his team when he was managing the Phillies, and that was it, man. You're out of baseball, and we're never going to consider you. You're never going to get into the Hall of Fame. It's never going to happen. Spiteful white men. And they did to Pete Rose what they did to black baseball players all those years ago. Nothing's changed about that sport. Nothing at all. And Pete Rose, who I'm defending, even though I never really liked the guy, had to live out his life knowing damn well they were going to make him beg and they were going to humiliate him. All for what? Gambling? And that's where they're making their money now? It's all okay now. Gambling's fine. But they could never put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame until he died. Until he died. Spiteful, old fucking men. I will never support that sport. Great run last year by the Guardians, but the Dolans are part of that group, and they can go fuck themselves and go to hell. Every person from George Steinbrenner to the people who've owned baseball teams to the silent owners who consistently lose in Pittsburgh or Cincinnati or wherever. Marge Schott giving little Nazi signals or whatever the case may be. A bunch of white supremacist owners who dominate the finances of a game that winning and losing doesn't even matter to them. And a sport that allows one or two teams to have such a huge advantage based on what city they're located in and how many hundreds of millions of dollars they're willing to put into their payroll. It's just no good. But I was just thinking about Pete Rose the other day, and I said to myself, if nothing else shows these are men who feel they have to win every battle, not the war. When I was in business, it was about winning the war. You lose battles along the way, but if you won the war, you did your job. These guys have to win every fucking battle. They're pricks. It's no good. And anybody who's gambling on baseball, God help you. You need help. But to watch 162 games, I got better things to do. Somebody must have rung the dinner bell for Tony as well. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching this edition of Moohead Radio. We'll be back again on Friday at the end of the week, doing it all over again. I sure as hell hope the weather gets a little warmer up here. I can't believe it, man. My birthday came and went. It's now past the middle of May, and we're looking at another week where the lows are going down into the 40s in a couple of days that are not going to get any warmer than 52 degrees. Fucking fall weather in May. It's like, what's going on? I don't know, but I hope it warms up because it will make everybody more cheerful. And we're going to get rain along with the 51 degrees and a low of 42. Ohio weather, unpredictable. Let's hope it warms up real soon. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I'll see you again on Friday. Until then, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.